Hi friends, Katie Carlson, day 13. How crazy is this? It's getting so much easier, I think. I don't know, maybe it's not. I think it is. You guys, I've had the most crazy day. But I've been looking forward to this day, kind of. Because I'm gonna give you a little bit of backstory, and as you know, I'm a little bit of a talker. Um, but today was my day in court. Back in November, I got pulled over for speeding right outside my apartment. I will 110 wholeheartedly admit when I am speeding. I will tell you, I have a heavy foot on the highway. And if you're on and you're watching, say hi. So I have a heavy foot for sure on the highway. I was not I was not speeding that day. In particular, okay, so let me just tell you kind of what happened. I was going to the eye doctor to go get contacts. Yay, contacts. I was not late. I was like right on time. I drive this road all the time. Hi, Jonathan. And I get pulled over. And I literally, so mind you, I was at a stop sign at 28th and Broadway, right where I live. I turned right. I see something in the road and I'm like, what is going on? Like maybe there's I thought maybe there was like a homeless person possibly, because I live in a very up and coming neighborhood. There's a lot of my neighbors are homeless and they're lovely. They're amazing people. But I thought maybe one of them was like crossing the street and just like staying there. So I kind of slow down. I'm like, what is going on? And I get waved over. And the police officer says to me, he said, ma'am, do you know why I pulled you over? And I said, no. I was like, what, why? And he's like, well, do you know what the speed limit is here? And I was like, actually, I don't. I just moved here. I'm guessing it's probably around 30 or something. He goes, well, I clocked you at 41. This is a 25. And I was like, oh, really? I'm like, I am so sorry. Like, I had no idea. I was like, I don't think my car could get up that quickly. I was just coming from my apartment. I was at a full stop. And I was really baffled by this. Okay. I have a Volvo 2013 XC60. I get it. It could probably get up to that speed, but I will tell you, I was not speeding. Again, heavy foot on the highway, wholeheartedly will admit to that. But in like the city driving, I don't speed. Like you can't, it's hard to speed. You know, it's nuts. So hi, Steve. Thanks guys for joining. This is going to be kind of an interesting story. It's been such an amazing day. So that happens back in November. And I had talked to a bunch of people that were like friends of cops and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to fight this because I know within me, like I was doing the right thing. I was not speeding. Again, I will admit it if I was. So I was arraigned on December 18th for a trial date. During that time, so this is right after I finished Date with Destiny in Florida. So I come back, and right before I'm heading to the mountains, I had to go to court. I go to court, and I'm seeing a lot of people that were pulled over on that day at the exact same spot in court that day. And we are saying we're either guilty or not guilty and all that kind of stuff. And I found a lot of people that had kind of a similar situation. Like they were like, we weren't speeding. Like, this is so confusing. And what makes this confusing is this road actually was in there was some construction going on. And then as you like kind of round the bend, the construction stops and there is no posted speed limit. Okay. So if there's not a posted speed limit, according to Colorado law, it's automatically 25 miles per hour. Fine. Got it. Great. Anyway, so I met up with some folks at court that day. I literally ran after them. I hadn't been called up yet, but I ran after them just hoping that like I could talk to them. I was like, hey, we need to exchange numbers. Like, you had a similar situation. Like, let's talk. I finally get called up. I plead not guilty. We all kind of reconvene in the back and we kind of talk it out. So then we all get arraigned. We all have special trial dates, our own individual trial dates. One of the guys that got pulled over that I had met that day, his trial date was like January 17th. I couldn't get in until February 26th, today, right? So he and I met prior to his trial date just to make sure we were all kind of square. And what we noticed, based on both of our tickets, he had one officer, I had another officer. There were two officers that day. But what was interesting is his ticket read that it was a unposted speeding ticket above, it was like, I don't know what it was, like 25 to 49 miles per hour or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but basically it said unposted speed limit infraction, right? And he was going 42 miles an hour. So I had talked to some other police officers, and they said, hey, always ask for the calibration records, because oftentimes they don't bring those to court, and then you can automatically get the case dismissed. I'm like, awesome. So Robert and I were talking. This is the gentleman that had the court date well before I did. Talking through like how we were going to both kind of present this case, whatever. But we noticed a discrepancy with the officers and then with like the posted versus unposted speed limit. I thought he had a little bit better of a case because, well, I thought my case was better, but I won't go into those details. Long story short, he shows up for his court date on that Friday. Case is dismissed. Now, we all know, and I love police officers. I appreciate their protection and what they do to keep me safe and all of that. And I have the utmost respect for what they do. However, I think there's been a story that looms probably everywhere that, hey, if you just pay the ticket, you get a 2-point infraction on your record. Well, I don't want it. I have a clean record. I don't want a 2-point infraction. And I was like, I truly believe that I wasn't speeding. So I was going to move forward with this. So fast forward. Okay. Robert goes to his court date. The officer doesn't show up. His case gets dismissed. So I'm thinking, okay, they're probably just, not thinking that basically we're just going to pay it and not fight it, right? So I'm thinking, I pull up today, have a hard time finding parking, hadn't really reviewed my notes from the time that Robert and I talked like months ago, or yeah, like, I don't know, 6 weeks ago or something, or I don't know, maybe it was like a month. Anyway, it felt like a long time ago, but I haven't reviewed it in a while. But I'm thinking it's just going to get thrown away. And I kept like kind of just visualizing it getting thrown away, having trouble parking, starting to get a little nervous. But I'm like, you know what? Trust the universe. Love you, universe. Like, all I have is white and pink light. I've just been just emulating white and pink light. And I got my crystal on. White and pink light. To everyone and all around me. The universe will take care of this whole situation. Regardless, I'm not a lawyer, by the way. So I finally get to the courthouse. I'm like, it's like 1:31. I'm supposed to be there at 1:30. I'm kind of rushing around, and I go to the clerk's office, and they say, oh, you'll be in room 105A. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to testify. This isn't like, oh no, this isn't going to get thrown out. So I'm like, okay, universe, we got this. We got this. There's no reason to fret. Just breathe, like open up, be open to receiving, whatever. I get to the courtroom. And I was thinking maybe it would be like the same judge that was there during my arraignment. Nope, not him. It was a young lady, or no, I would say, yeah, young lady. And I sit down, and the officer's there, and he comes over to me. He says, "Miss, come with me." And I'm like, okay. So I go over, and I go outside the courtroom with him, and he said, we're asked to come and talk to you before coming into trial, because I don't know why. But I was like, okay. And he goes, do you have a defense? And I said, yes, I do. I said, I have some pictures, and I have, just some notes that I've made, and I have a statement that I'd like to read. And that's what and he goes, listen, ma'am, he's like, I have not lost a case in 20 years. And I said, listen, sir, all due respect. I was like, I thank you for protecting our city. I was like, I have the utmost respect for you and everything. I'm just telling you right now, like, I'm a horrible liar, and I'm being brutally honest right now. I don't believe I was speeding that day. And whether the gun was off or maybe there was another car or whatnot, like, I was literally coming from a stop sign. Like, I don't think my car, and I've tried, I drive this a lot. Like, my car can't get up that quickly. Yes, I have a Volvo, but I would have to floor it. And I don't floor my car when I'm sitting driving. Like, I just don't. So he's trying to talk me out of having this going to trial. And he said, you might be able to ask the judge if you can just pay it and do the 2 points and kind of move on. And I said, listen, sir, I really appreciate this. I appreciate you talking to me. I was like, this is something very new to me. I've never done this before. I'm just going to trust. And I'm going to lay out my case the way I think I know what I'm doing, and we'll see what happens. Okay. So we finally get called up, and I go up to the podium, and I'm a little nervous. Like I definitely start shaking, and I blush big time, and I mean big time. And people could probably think that I'm lying because I'm blushing so much. So if when I get excited and I get fired up, like I get really red and my ears get hot, and I'm sure everybody, a lot of people have that. But I mean, I definitely expose the redness. So I'm up there and I'm like, hi, Your Honor. Yes, I'm Catherine Carlson. Whatever. And then she said something about like testifying. And I was like, well, I thought that's what we were doing today. Like, I want this to be kind of over with. And she's like, oh, no, that's correct. Well, then the officer introduces himself, and he says something about having the body cam that'll like help defend his, or like help the prosecution, or I guess help his case, if you will. Well, but he didn't bring it because it's still processing. So he was like, I'm happy to go get it, but it'll take like 10 minutes. And so I'm like, I don't know what this body cam's going to do. Like, I have no idea. And I'm like, and I look at the judge, and she's like, we can't help you, but if you'd like to have this admitted in court, we can recess for 10 minutes. And I'm like, okay. So mind you, at this point in my thought process, when I was out there talking to the police officer, I had mentioned that I was going to ask about the calibration records, because that's what I had heard that you ask about. I was like, oh no, because he's going to go get the video. He's going to go get the calibration records, and then I'm not going to have a defense. Like, what am I going to do? So I was like, nope, just trust. Pink, white light, pink and white light, just exuding out of me, exuding to the officer, to the bailiff, to the judge, everybody. So I'm like, I just kept staying calm. And I literally had to consciously kind of calm myself down, because I felt my heart kind of racing a little bit. I don't know why I was nervous, but I mean, I was, right? I'm human. So whatever. Hi, Lauren. So the police officer comes back, and he presents his case and talks all about like his certification. He's been a police officer for 22 years and protecting the, Denver City Police and blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. I mean, just, and I'm like, Katie Carlson. I don't know. Like, how am I supposed to, I'm honest, but like, how am I supposed to back up my stuff right now without any like character witnesses? So again, I'm getting a little nervous. I'm like, it's okay. Just get through this. Like, let him make his case. And, she's like, okay, well, would you like to ask him some questions? And I said, well, part of my defense, and again, I totally did this all wrong. But I was like, this is my first time, And I said, part of my defense is I want to read this statement, but I also wanted to ask about the calibration records. But you had just indicated that his certifications and, hours and all of that kind of stuff will be admitted as evidence, and hearsay on such with that evidence is permitted into this trial. I'm like, oh man, like, I don't have a case. Like, I think I'm done. But I'm like, nope, pink, white light, pink and white light, pink and white light. Just to him, to everybody in the courtroom. It was just the four of us. It was the bailiff, the judge, police officer, and me. And so I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Well, finally it gets around to like my turn, and I botched a couple questions that I had to ask him and that sort of thing. And then the judge kind of supported me and, okay, read your statement. So I was like, okay, so I'm gonna read my statement. So I read this awesome statement that I think is pretty good. And it's really more around, hey, I respect and I really appreciate, I'm new to the area. I appreciate the protection that you're providing in the neighborhood, I drive this this route all the time. Based on my stopping point at 28th and Broadway, I had pictures of this, so I admitted pictures into evidence as I was telling this story, which was hilarious. And, the judge was then asking all these questions, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing this very well, and my face is getting all red, and I'm starting to sweat. I'm like, okay, just you got this, Katie, you can do this. So then I get through my case, and I'm feeling a little bit defeated. And we watched the body cam, which was actually kind of fun. I actually really enjoyed watching that, because you could see the shock and awe on my face by being pulled over. I was like, is something wrong? Like, is everything okay? And I had such a like sweet and innocent, like I really was, like I was very sweet and innocent at that moment. I may not be always, but I was then. And I was like, I really don't know what I did. Like, I was literally dumbfounded. So it's kind of funny seeing that. And I referenced that back in my statement. But then, this went on for like an hour and 10 minutes. So then the judge says to me, I close the statement. I say, listen, I truly respect and honor Officer Dimrell's, record and his protection and service within the Denver Police Academy, or, the Denver Police Force. I said, all you have right now is my word, and my word is my word. And I trust that you will make the appropriate decision based on the evidence that is shared today. And honestly, guys, they're going to side with the police officer. Like, I was like, I know this is going to happen, but I was like, you know what? No, trust, pink light, pink and white. I was like, and I've been incredibly gracious to the police officer and tell him how much I appreciate his protection and his service and all that kind of stuff. But I just kept saying pink and white light, pink and white light. And so I said to the judge, I said, whatever decision you make, I respect. Whatever way you go, I respect, and I will take it as is. And I appreciate the time to defend my case and to show up here today. And that was it. And then she said, well, typically we'd go to a closing statement. And she said, do you want to add anything to what you just said? And that was a pretty good closing statement. And I said, no, I appreciate your time. And thank you for hearing me out. That was it. I go back down. And I didn't look at the guy the police officer, because I don't know. I didn't want to do that. I was like, pink and white light, just going out to everyone. Okay. So I'm sitting there and I'm just like, it's okay. And by the way, my phone started like blowing up because my team is like going nuts. And I was like, don't listen, just distract, put it away. And I didn't look at anything. And I was just like, pink and white light, pink and white light. And so then she's like, I'm going to need a couple minutes to figure out the verdict here. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay. And then she says, okay, we've come to a decision, or I've come to a decision. Right before that, she calls the officer back up and says, Officer Jermel, you had testified that it was a posted or an unposted speed limit area, right? Unposted speed limit area. And he said, yes. He goes and sits back down. She takes her time, says, okay, I've made a decision. She starts listing all of his amazing credentials and like all the things that he's done and his certifications and the radar gun and all this stuff. And how, just everything that he's done. And so I'm like, okay, like this is okay. I got this. But I'm like, maybe this isn't going to go my way. And I said, but that's okay. So it's a worthy opponent, right? I trust you, universe, regardless if I think it's fair or I, believe that I wasn't speeding, which I truly, to the core and essence of me, like, I know I was not going that fast. It's just not. I mean, it's possible, but I know that I wasn't in my heart. And I know that with everything in me. And so she then says all of this, and she said, and because Officer Dimrell, you had mentioned that this was an unposted speed limit sector, which then defaults to 25 miles an hour, which I had kind of an argument about 30 miles an hour, which not needed as part of this, but part of some of the case that I built up. Then she says, the ticket that you administered was written for a posted speed limit area. So what I had noticed about Roberts and I's ticket actually ended up being my golden ticket, and I didn't even bring it up in my defense. Like, didn't even bring it up. Totally had forgotten about it because I forgot to review my notes. I literally was like under the impression, oh, this is going to get thrown away, but I was under this this crazy pressure. And I was like, oh my gosh, is this really happening? Whatever. And so she said, you're not guilty. I still didn't look at the officer, and I still didn't believe it. So I was like, okay, just, stay calm, whatever. And she kept talking about some other stuff. And I don't really remember exactly what she said, because I was like, oh my gosh, did she really say that I was not guilty, not guilty, not guilty? And then she finally said to me, she goes, so ma'am, all the charges against you will be dropped. You're free to go. You're not guilty. And then the police officer says, oh, it was a Freudian slip, because I guess they're using these new electronic speed posting things that it was rule 571-2, and he should have written 571-1, but because my ticket was written incorrectly, it got thrown out. And I was like, oh my gosh. And this guy, the officer, bless his heart, beforehand had told me he's never lost a case. 20 years, never lost a case. Like, you should take the plea. And I'm like, no, I'm going to trust. I'm just going to trust, and I'm going to be happy with whatever happens. And you know what? I'm free. Not that I was going to get like, sent to jail or anything, but this was a big thing for me. And it was so interesting because I was reading Untethered Soul. I'm still kind of reading Untethered Soul. And there's a lot of talk about opening and releasing and allowing the energy to flow through you. And I could tell and I could feel the anxious energy and the thoughts and the feels coming through me, but I allowed myself just to open and just to continue to open. And I just kept visualizing just that pink and white light because I truly was grateful for the judge. And I mean, truly grateful for everyone in that courtroom, including the police officer. And I appreciate his service more than anything. And I continue to do that and say that. But when she said not guilty, you're free to go, I was like, oh my gosh. And so I was like, okay, so I get up now, right? So I got up and the police officer walks down and he's like, nice job. And I was like, thank you for your service. I was like, thank you. I truly respect what you do and everything about it. I was like, thank you. I truly do, I'm so grateful. I truly am for protecting our city. And truthfully, people do speed a lot down this way. And so I'm happy that people are there, catching them, but I truly wasn't speeding that day. But again, the universe, regardless of which way it was going to go, I truly had peace in my heart. If I was going to get 4 points on my license, I was prepared for that. I was also prepared to, maybe she would, lend out and say, you're going to get two points on your license and whatever, and then my insurance would sky up and, all that kind of stuff. But you know what? I just said, I trust. I'm open. I'm free. And I truly appreciate and have so much gratitude for the judge, for the bailiff, and the officer that I just trusted. And so I won, and the charges are dropped, and this is now behind me. But what was so beautiful about it was I stayed open, and I trusted, and I just have so much energy around it. And I was just talking to someone after I got out of there, and he was like, well, what did you learn? And I was like, make peace with the universe. Make peace with it. It's happening, life's happening for us, not against us. And I had so much peace, regardless of what was going to happen. I wasn't fearful, and I just opened myself up. I was vulnerable. I mean, for any lawyers out there, I don't think I'm not going to judge it, but I could, there's opportunity for improvement. Let me just put it that way. So it was just a magical experience. And yeah, what I learned is make peace with the universe, because life is truly happening for us and not against us. So thank you guys for watching. I know this was a long one. This is probably my longest. Holy cow, it's 22 minutes. So it's so insane, but such an incredible experience and amazing outcome, right? So trust yourself, be you, step into a really vulnerable place and just trust, and send pink and white light full of love and gratitude to everyone around you, and good things happen. Mwah! Cheers to day 13. Love you all. We'll talk soon. Bye.